Last week, I talked about living without fear and how Jesus' life was the ultimate example of embracing what we might otherwise try to avoid. We tend to look at difficulties as obstacles rather than opportunities, as bad instead of simple events that need to play out. When we look at Jesus' teachings, sorry about that. When we look at Jesus' teachings, hold on, I'm gonna correct my camera. There we go. All right. We find that Jesus' perspective is largely one of opportunity. For example, instead of saying, don't do this or don't do that, he says, blessed are those who, and he lists 8 things, turn the other cheek, go the extra mile, be honest with yourself, be a neighbor, rather than fearing what we might even imagining might occur, or imagining the worst. It doesn't predispose us to striving towards those behaviors, does it? So Jesus encourages us to live proactively, working always towards all things good. So how does his teaching help us do that and help us to focus less on our fears? When we allow fear to cloud our perspective in life, we lose so many opportunities because we're not doing things that we have an opportunity we would ordinarily have an opportunity to do. In the Beatitudes, Jesus taught us that we should strive to be blessed. You know, he didn't even say, he didn't tell us specific things to do necessarily, but he said strive to be blessed, at least in the Sermon on the Mount. But that implies an action on our part, that we have to strive. It's not something that passively happens, I'm good, so I deserve to be blessed. No, we have to take an action. But then by whom or by what are we blessed? By that ultimate love, that ultimate good, the purity that exists throughout the universe and beyond our perceivable universe. In Christian terms, by Jesus' Father, the merciful and generous Father. Some behaviors that Jesus says will result in blessing are poverty of spirit, mourning, meekness, hunger for righteousness, purity, working toward peace, even being persecuted for the sake of righteousness. Whenever I've heard of discussions about the Beatitudes, I tend to sense a lackluster response to them. And maybe that's because we're not really understanding what's at the heart of them, what they mean, or how to apply them to our lives. Or maybe we listen to them and we say, well, for whatever reason, I don't want to pursue that. We need to explore why. Are there particular fears that would make us resistant to these behaviors or attitudes that Jesus speaks of and that he encourages? Maybe we think that the blessing isn't worth the price, or that the reward seems too vague or abstract. Maybe the reward isn't immediate enough. Maybe we think having to wait for heaven, well, what if we die and there is no heaven? I mean, I'm sure that thought has crossed everyone's mind. But each of the 8 behaviors is a challenge in and of itself. The first one is to be poor in spirit. Now, mind you, we're not saying physically poor. One might consider the opposite of poverty of spirit, for clarity, proud-heartedness. Certainly there's nothing wrong with being satisfied or feeling good with something that we've accomplished or some positive effect that we've had in the world. But when that pride clouds our vision, when it prevents us from learning or being open to new possibilities or realities, or when it causes us to dismiss others, then we've missed out on a real opportunity. Humility is a great virtue, even if it is sometimes misunderstood. There is no call in humility to be stepped on or to be dismissed ourselves or to stand back and not take action. It's simply a call to not be attentive to ourselves, not to draw attention to ourselves. I've heard it said that the one who is the most humble is not the one who denigrates himself, but it's the one who doesn't think of himself at all. And it takes strength and courage and patience and many other virtues to walk with confidence without being noticed or praised or even affirmed. Now, there's nothing wrong with affirmation. We need a certain amount of affirmation from our respected leaders or guides to make sure that we're on the right path. But to constantly need a pat on the back is a missed opportunity to practice this virtue of poverty of spirit. When we practice this beatitude, this positive behavior, we rest in the knowledge that we're an influencer for goodness among those we encounter. In our poverty, we can bring calm to chaos. We can encourage trust in uncertainty. We can show compassion to the distraught, all by simply having the humility to think of others' needs rather than to think of ourselves in any given moment. When our behaviors are contrary to this ideal, it's possible that we might be reacting within a situation to some fear, maybe the fear of not being valued or needed, of being taken advantage of not having influence or power. These are natural fears, but they need a supernatural dose of trust and of interior knowledge that we are valued. Simply by the fact that we exist, God breathed life into us. We are a part of this human family, and we play an important role in the outcome of the world around us. We affect whether people around us experience bad or good, whether they experience fear or peace or anger or joy. The scriptures tell us that we have this responsibility to continue his work, the work of Jesus, to witness to his presence. So may we truly find blessings in bringing good to those around us without expecting anything in return. Be safe and be aware and pray well. And be sure to check the comments for today's song pick and share and like so that our streamers know people are watching. Have a blessed day.